Well, welcome everyone to Los Monsteros Zoo. My name is Leaf, and it's always so great to have you guys here. So, yeah, we should probably talk about this. I wanted to start a new zoo. It's been one of the things I wanted to do for quite some time. I just haven't really worked my way up to it just yet until now. So I really was so inspired off of such bigger zoos like Jacksonville Zoo, Zoo Tampa, San Diego Zoo, and I kind of want to do a mix of those higher budget zoos. As you guys probably know, I have a bunch of other series happening on the channel right now, but nothing really of this splendor, I guess you could kind of say. So one of the ways I really want to get started on this is just by jumping in and building a habitat. I usually don't build entrances first, because I kind of get burnt out on them very easily, but I always love to build habitats first and foremost, and I have to give a huge shout out to NDP for his faux rock pack for absolutely carrying this build over here. And you can see I'm doing a lot of very unique foliage work. I'm using some of the bamboo and making it a little bit taller by just flipping it over, just really making use of the pieces as best as I can. And we should probably talk about what we're actually building for as well. I really want to have this beautiful Asian trail. I really haven't been able to build too many Asian areas in my zoos just yet. I usually build like, one-off animals and stuff like that, but I've never actually built this entire Asia trail. And I really wanted to get started on that with some dholes. These guys are really kinetic. They like to move around a lot is what that kind of means. And I feel like they're a wonderful entrance animal, and I have to give a huge shout out to my good buddy Concord Forge for always demonstrating that practice about getting very kinetic animals to start off areas with. And dholes are very exceptional at that. You just see them running around the habitat in here, and it's perfect. Once we actually do get to the habitat, though, I'll start to talk about a lot more of the techniques that I do use. And yeah, I'm also using blueprints in this build. There's no way that I couldn't. So we have to give a huge shout out to my man Lion. You guys can check out his YouTube channel. Just type in Lion Planet Zoo. You may get a bunch of lion speed builds, but trust me, it's like the blue double L's. He is an exceptional builder, and I cannot recommend him enough. So we will be using some of his. You guys can probably see me put down like whoever I use blueprints from. I'll be sure to mention whoever I can going through it all. But first and foremost, I really did just want to get like the initial things done first. So I did want to build for the guests first, because I'm oftentimes very good at habitats. I have not to brag, but it's very much one of my strong suits. But what I'm not that good at is kind of like the guest areas and kind of handling stuff like that. So I really want to take all my creative juices that I had at once and dedicate them all to being like, making the pathways, making like the fencing and stuff like that. And I do this kind of very interesting fence. I'm trying to break away from so much of the stuff that I've been doing recently. I feel like Riverbend kind of blends together. I feel like that kind of blends together with, Tear Garden. I feel like that one starts to blend in with like Foxborough. I really just want to say, screw it. I want to do something completely different. And that's exactly what we're doing over here. You can see me kind of wrangling the path right there. It was a little bit of a pain. And I do apologize if you're new here. Sometimes I do skip certain parts in the speed build. Either small things that I'm not really recording, or just, it may even be kind of chunks or something. I don't really know. I'm so sorry. But usually for this speed build in particular, I don't really cover... I cover pretty much everything that really needs to be covered. And since we're working with dholes, they are predators and they are canines, so they can jump pretty high. And one of the things I'm trying to implement over here is a way for them to stay away from the guest side, and that's by just using gravel and rocks. It usually deters them far enough, but we do have some, cautions built in here to really keep them away from the guests, and we do raise that fence a little bit higher. And what I also kind of start to work in over here is viewpoints and sight lines. Okay, so that is something that I'm also trying to teach myself. Whenever I do build zoos, I usually build it with the purpose of educating myself on how to build better. And one of the things I really wanted to implement over here was sightlines. And I really wanted to have this kind of trench in the middle of these two habitats where you could not only just see the dholes, but you could also see the elephants back there as well. I don't know if I said this before, but the whole idea of this entire tour or trail, it's going to be concerning the likes of moving from India's dry season to the wet season. So we're going to be using a lot of Indian and Southeast Asian animals to really represent the region, and we're going to have some elements in here concerning culture, about like Indian holidays that may happen during like, you know, the dry season, some during the wet season, a lot of like the mythological stories that happens with all that stuff. I love to build stuff along that lines, just really building up stories. And already in the speed build, in like this voiceover, I can really tell how much I'm loving this project. I don't know. I just really wanted to say that, guys. I'm so excited for this. But I'm also building the holding facility for the dholes as well over here. It's nothing too crazy, and I do need to give them access to an actual road, because when you do work in a large scale facility like this, you will need to connect stuff up by road. And that's very important to keep in mind when you do work kind of like under this guise that, you know, we're going for hyper realism over here. We gotta make sure that everything can stay connected, and we gotta make sure that everything can be reached from everywhere. So we will be focusing on that later down the line. And I do apologize, Kazar. Thank you. Okay, thank you, Lee, for writing that down just instantly. I'm using Kazar's blueprint over here for these doors. I just really wanted to implement them over here, just make sure that we get the dholes able to access their indoor as well. They don't really have that much room on the indoors, but that whole building is pretty much dedicated to them. And again, you can kind of see me working the path over here. I wanted to have multiple viewing galleries as well, just because the first one, it was kind of small. So I figured we might as well have a bunch of small ones. We have two main ones, and we have one very, very, very tiny one over there towards the other side. And a lot of the stuff in here, I'm just working out the layout over here. I apologize if it's kind of laggy for you guys. Again, computer still not upgraded yet. Parts were delivered somewhere else, not my house. It's been a whole fiasco, so I'm really just trying to wait for all that to happen. But I'm also deterring the dholes from jumping off that cliff over there. Hopefully we can actually sneak our backstage access down there, hopefully barring it off from the guests so they don't really see under there. But I think that may be our best area of approach, just have it so that cars can go up and down that little pathway, and they can access that, like, you know, that house up there. Just integrate all of that. And we should probably talk about the planting and foliage work as well. Since this does start off representing India within the dry season, I really just want to integrate as much dry grass as possible. It is very lush, do keep that in mind, but I'm trying to integrate the cord grass. I'm implementing some periwinkles just as a way to sprinkle in a little bit more color. And I'm also using the marula trees, again, courtesy of Forge. Listen, Forge is he is like the Yoda to my Luke. He really helps me learn so much about like Planet Zoo and like building better. It's just really great to have him around. But he essentially taught me that the marula trees make for excessively great ground cover, and I use those to my advantage down there as well, so you can kind of see that. And we also kind of build it up all around the zoo. And one of the things I do like to always put in are pacing trails. It's not the sexiest name in the world for it, but unfortunately when animals are in zoos, sometimes they do typically pace in the same areas, or they sometimes just walk down the same areas multiple times, and that kind of leads to the habitat becoming a little bit more deteriorated over time, so grass can't really grow in those areas, but it makes for exceptionally good looking and realistic habitat. So be sure to do that whenever you do get that under control. And I'm also throwing a few logs over here as well, just to make sure that we're able to, you know, separate the dholes from the guests even more. And I'm just very happy with that. We also do some kind of fun stuff over here, turning the triordia grass on its side and making it look like it was kind of stepped down on. I felt like that was kind of cute. And we also have our our staff access right over there. I think I will redo this entire building later down the line. Not really a big fan of it right now, but honestly, for the time being, I'm really happy with the style of it at least, and I'm happy with the colors, so I just want to keep it here for the time being as a point of reference for where we're going to continue this. I really do like the kind of like slated down reddish browns, and also the purples. I feel like that adds exceptionally well characters to the whole India section. And we also try and add some enrichment for our dholes, but I don't really have anything too much for them. But we could add that later down the line. There goes the pacing trails. They look pretty good right there. Also adding some gravel as well, just to make sure that the area feels a lot more planted in. Make sure it, like, you know, has a little bit more purpose, if you will. And also adding some of those bamboo. It was very much based off of a photo from Jacksonville Zoo from their tiger trail, so that's something I want to integrate right there. And I also do a custom fence over here as well. Nothing too crazy. It's really simple. I just use the brackets over there to make it feel like it was a little bit more supported, and a little bit more realistic. So we kind of just add that there. I look for other things to add, but I think it was kind of set as it was. And we kind of just have that follow the trail up here. Usually at that curve, I think I'm going to add a deer species. I think it may be the Eld's deer now that I think about it, so that will be something that I would love to add right there. It's a mod that just came out. I will say, if you guys don't use mods, I do apologize. I do use mods in so many of my builds. Obviously, mods are not officially endorsed by Frontier, but I still love to use them. I feel like they help me unlock so much of my creativity, and I just can't get over using them. They're exceptionally awesome for what I do in particular, but if you don't want to use them, that is totally fine. That is fine by me. Listen, I welcome all different kinds of players to my channel. I love having so many different people from so many different lifestyles, different play styles too, make use of my channel, and I'm just welcome to have you guys always here. Now, that all aside, let's get back to the build itself. Over here, I really just wanted to integrate a little bit more realism, so I do add these curbs, and I kind of add these throughout the entire build itself, and they really do help to bring a build from looking kind of shabby and kind of put together to being a lot more prim, a lot more formal, and a lot more clean. Yeah, that's essentially what I'm going for over here, and we kind of just add that all the way over there, and we add a little bit of an electrical socket right there, just in case if, you know, someone needs to plug something in. Maybe there's an animal talk going on that a microphone needs to be plugged in for or something like that. That's essentially what I do over there. And we also continue all the pathway, all the curbing, all around the zoo, and it's going to be really fun. And it's going to be totally not tedious to do after this episode, because I was already crying while doing it. But it's these small things that you can do in your zoo that really help it stick out and really help it take it to a next level. Using a variety of different pieces, using the variety of different parts and stuff, it really does help to solidify your zoo, and it really does help to kind of ground it in this kind of sense of realism, and I think it plays off exceptionally well in this area in particular. What we also do, we continue those fences all the way over there, all the way to the staff area, and I think it works pretty well. It's a very open fence. I don't know how to describe it. It feels very open, lets the airflow right through it, but it's not abrasive to the eyes, okay? It's not offensive. I just really like that fence. And I do have to give a quick shout out to Zuv as well. He did this beautiful, oh my gosh, little blueprint over here for getting these beautiful metal roof pieces to look exceptionally well in areas like this. And all you have to do is recolor them and they look swell right over there. So I opt for a little bit of a green color. I feel like the green and the purple work really well with each other. So we kind of have all that stuff going on. And we also just line up the rest of the pieces over here. If you guys don't know, I use as many blueprints as I can. Using blueprints is one of the best things you can do in this game to get exceptionally good looking builds. It doesn't matter if someone else made it, you credit them and you thank them for literally putting in the hours that you don't have to put in yourself. It's a wonderful thing to have, and I will always embrace using blueprints. And look how good that looks now. We kind of change it out for a little bit more of an orangish color, and I think that helps the build so much more. It feels kind of rustic, if that makes sense. I don't know, I kind of like it. We also add a little bit of muck and grime to our viewing areas, just to give it a little bit more pop, a little bit more grunge. Just makes it feel like it was there for quite some time. And I don't know, I just really like it because of that. But hey, look at that. Oh my god, we're at the end of our first episode of Monsteros Zoo. I just really wanted to thank you guys so much for tuning in for another series. I know I have so many going on at once, but I will promise to wrap up so many of them. I really do want to finish Riverbend soon. I want to finish Foxborough. That's not going to be done for a while. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. But I will get all that stuff done relatively soon. But thank you guys so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the episodes that are to come of the series soon enough, because I will be going on vacation soon, and I'm hoping to get a lot of this done. So thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys all in the next video. Be sure to subscribe in order to keep up with the series, and I'll see you guys then. Take care and have the most wonderful of wonderful days. Bye bye now.